What is going on with that music, Forrest? Well, today we have a special guest, and her name is...
Hi, my name is Brenda, and I'm the host of Horrifying History, where history, the paranormal, and true crime collides.
Okay, enough of the heavy metal. Let's get something to set the mood. All right, Brenda, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Well, I was born and raised in Western Canada, and I became obsessed with the dark side of history and the paranormal since birth. I dreamed of becoming a detective one day, but ultimately started working in healthcare and then healthcare analytics. After I was introduced to podcasts in 2019, I was hooked, and I became an expert spook historian while still developing my first podcast, Horrifying History. And what we do is we take deep dives into the dark side of history while looking at lore, facts, and the history behind it, which allows listeners to decide where the truth actually lies. Well, it really depends. If we're talking about a paranormal story, for example, I will tell the lore behind the lore itself, and then we'll dig a little deeper to see if it's even true. We'll look at different documentation and evidence behind it to see if the story is even possible. We also do true crime, and we also do the same thing. For example, I did a show on Jack the Ripper, and we did 2 episodes. The first episode was about the women and how they got to the place they were. The other one was who possibly could have done it.
Speaking of Ripper, let's let it rip. You've brought a terrifying horror story regarding wine, the Grape Plague.
Okay. Well, everything started with yellowing leaves and stunted vines. Nobody thought very much of it until vineyards started to die fast. It was called Phylacera, and Phylacera is an invasive insect from North America. Tiny, wingless, and absolutely devastating.
Yeah, we're going back to the 1800s where wine was really a staple in their everyday life. So that's why it was kind of a big deal that, oh, what's going on here? I don't have my regular wine. What's happening? So now this insect almost ended wine in Europe. Can you explain that a little bit?
Phylacera, it actually doesn't attack the grapes. It attacks the roots, which makes it a bit different. Microscopic and relentless, it chews into the root system and it infects the vine with the disease. By the time you see the symptoms showed on the surface, it was already too late. And this spread like wildfire. So
did they really understand how bad it really was?
With anything, when there's any sort of plague or something that affects crops, in the beginning, people just think it's an isolated incident. But it destroyed nearly 9 out of every 10 vineyards in France. Entire wine regions turned to dust. Family lost everything, and wine became scarce. So what does that mean? Prices soar. And that's when the desperation started to creep in.
I'm sure there was probably rumors that there was sabotage involved here.
Yes, they did. Some believed it was actually an economic warfare. Fingers pointed at the British and even at the Americans. There were wild accusations, claims that foreign rootstocks were infected on purpose. And when no cure came, superstition took hold.
So this is kind of where the horrifying history comes in, because logic was out the door. Superstition, boy, that is a powerful thing in everybody's life. The number 13, don't step on a crack. So superstition, how did that come into play in this particular grape plague?
In some villages, they performed nightly rituals, mixing ash, wine, and animal blood. They poured it into the soil like a sacrifice. Others hung garlic from vines or buried dead toads near the roots. Science had failed them, so they turned to folklore. With anything that was bad, it would jump automatically to the supernatural or the devil.
So they're trying to perform this exorcism on the vineyard, right?
Not metaphorically, literally.
How did they figure it out?
Well, the only solution was radical. Grafting European wines into resistant American rootstock. And it worked, but it came at a price. The old vines, the pure European bloodlines, were gone. What we drink today is a Franken viticulture and the survivors.
Franken viticulture. So they merged the 2 vines. Wow. So every bottle we open today is basically built on American roots and comes from the grape plague.
Basically, yes. Underneath every vineyard, though, Phylacera still lives. Controlled, but not gone. It's waiting. And if the balance slips, it could rise again.
The best 5-minute one podcast.
Don't forget my favorite part.
Please like and follow. Oh.